Well, here we are, 15th of August. Everything's been stopped, say stopped, disbudded now a week. It started last Monday, it's now Tuesday following. So the buds are starting to develop. There's plenty more to take, but I reckon there'll hardly be a bud that won't be taken this week. So the initial plan of trying to get everything to start flowering for Kent, which is only 2 days before the National, and then pretty much finished by Harrogate 10 days later, will have worked out, I hope, as far as time is concerned, because I think I've gone back through the others and took every bud that's there, so that seems to have worked out. What the flowers will be like, I don't know. Keep them wandering around here. This is the Oakwood Goldcrest, just starting to stretch up a bit now. The buds are coming and get a bit of height to it. So that, I'm not going to miss with any of these really. Only danger could be that I'll get a few before. I think perhaps that's a bit hopeful to think that's going to make the National. That might just be Kent, but there's everything sort of down to that to go. And even the dog's finding me some. This is the Winarm. This is the next one to go through and just tie up and check for any more buds, but most of them are done. And there's a good bit of strength in them. They're all as I'd expect them to be, I suppose. It's the thing there, but again they're starting to go up, and they really do need that next tie, which will probably be the last one. Moonlights, I don't know. I mean, I've got 1 or 2 plants and I've pulled out a couple. And really, that one there I should pull out. It's just breaking down. I'm not too sure about that one, but in general, there's there, and there was 37 plants there, so I've lost 1, 2, 3 really. So I'm still down to 34, but again, buds are done from various stages, so I'm not really going to miss. They've had their second tie, and that'll probably be the last one on them. Challenger, I've gone through, tied up, and I have secured every single stem on these. So that's 40 plants, 4 up, 160 flowers that are all going to come out pretty much within 7 to 10 days of each other. And they seem like Challenger normally has. It's a job to know what they're going to do on the plot. Having not grown any of these varieties on this ground, I don't know what they're going to do. I can just do what I used to do and go from there, but they're looking alright. There's plenty of strength in them, and again they're starting to extend now. The buds are coming, and I've got, they range from that to just taken, so they'll be there. And the Valentine, really pleased. I went through yesterday and just secured every bud on every stem that I hadn't done 7 days beforehand. I think it might be being a bit hopeful to think that might make Midlands, but we shall see. There's another one over there, and one here, and maybe it will, as long as that starts flicking by just about by the weekend. I'm not going to show them, I just want them for the judging exam, and in some way have a little look at what they're doing. There's a lot of these are going to be secured on a run-on, like that. You can see that's where I've took it out, and this is the shoot I've run on, and then there's a bud in there. That may affect the size, but we've still got 3 full pairs of leaves from the run-on to the bud, so it's not like a little dink or anything. It should make it. We'll just see what happens. Well, it's the day after we've been to the plot. I finished up there this morning and happily took pretty much, I've secured every single stem on every plant over the last sort of 9-10 days, so that should give me a decent flush. We're in the garden and it's starting to show its form really. I think the palms are fine. These are the Girdler, big old hedges, but still slow to bud. I've got some there, and that's ready for calyxing. It's about that sort of stage when they're nice and big and stick out that I tend to nick them off. Just do it while I'm walking up and down really, or go through the plants. I'm going to start just giving them their last tie. The allotment ones have had theirs. But there's a few buds, but just not as many as I would like. There's plenty still to come, so I'm going to be having these through to Christmas. But look healthy, just not quite as much as I would want them to. I've done most of these at least 2 pairs of leaves. I don't think they're quite as strong as when they're a bit shorter. I hope I haven't messed that one up. More place, bit of colour. Might have a few of these for the judging exam at the Midlands. We'll see what happens, but they're very tall. I mean, they're pushing 5 foot tall now. But it'll be interesting to see what they do. Blackberry, my fault, I think. I've put it's in probably the shadiest bit of the whole garden, and also I think there's a little bit of variable stock. I've let them come just to have a look at them, but I'm really struggling to find any buds in here. I think because of the shade they are being very slow. I've got loads and loads of tips with nothing in it. So if there's any shows in October, let me know. I might have some large poms. Dave's Choice, coming alright. A bit worried about the strength again in the shade. There's quite a few buds taken. There's quite a few more to do. The haggard foliage there is me getting a bit carried away, sticking a potash feed on the foliage, and it sort of messed it up a little bit, but the buds are alright, and it's stiffened the stems of it. Marys, there's plenty of them, plenty of buds, secured quite a few there, and there's a variability in the plants, and I think it's the ground. You know, I've put nothing in the ground other than the fertiliser. I just wanted to dig it, grow them, and see what it did. And there's patches like this that are really strong, lush plants, and then there's little patches like there where they step down. I mean, they're still growing and they still look fine, but they're just not as strong as others. But there's 25 odd plants there and plenty of buds, so we should get something. Primrose Hall, I think there's a little bit of the odd plant that isn't as strong as the others. It could be the ground, it could be the stock again, but they're alright, and again secured. Just how long they're going to take to actually open. And then R1, a very tall variety, so that's now 6 foot. There's a bud, and it's yet to really finish growing upwards. Let's go around the back here, and there's only 10 plants there, but I try to get them all as well timed as I can, so there's plenty of buds all of about that stage, and that across all the shoots. So this is the other side of the same bed. They're 4 deep, the plants there. Marston Suzanne, again probably about 5 foot tall now, but I didn't get as many breaks on it as I wanted. Didn't rush to shoot out, but I've secured quite a few, and there's still some there that I've missed. I'm not going to strip them all the way down because I haven't got the sort of 16 I'd normally like. I'm probably nearer 13 to 14, some a bit less, but they look alright, and they're probably in the most open bit of the garden, so they haven't got too much above them. The Marston Karen, bit of a disaster. once it got chopped back it never really grew from it. So I've got some plants like this which are really as they want to be, as I expected them to be, and others again that are going to be joining the blackberry in those October shows if we can find any. So bit of a mix. I finally got rid of the rubbish that was here. It's opened it up a bit. We'll just see what comes. I think the mirrors will be fine, and I should see some reasonable flowers from there. And I think the Gertler will probably make it. Here's a Mary's bud. I've just sort of left one early just to see what size they're coming, and if I need to I'll get in there and strip out a few extra shoots, or hopefully be able to leave them alone. But to see what size they come, it's all a bit of guesswork. So there's the garden, looking alright. I suppose as well as could be expected for the conditions, but not quite as healthy and happy looking as the allotment. So 3 weeks yesterday, we'll all know who's done what.